brisk Thursday morning. Wonderful to have this fall weather with us. We have two special guests today, plus our ever-present special guest, Ms. Carter. Ms. Carter has placed in the back for you a piece of paper and writing utensils for you to write down any questions you may have, so you can think about those while we listen to our school nurse and our school safety officer when he arrives. Our school safety officer, did he not?
I have never heard
Oh, well, he is doing safety things.
He is doing safety things.
Maybe Ms. Carter can call an emergency in here and we're going over.
We can see the reaction time.
So, we can give you, I had a couple of questions beforehand, but maybe I'm sure you can answer them. I'll write them in. I'll use the writing utensils.
No, you can also just ask. This small of a group, y'all can probably just ask questions. But anyway.
Yes, on the admissions update, it's always nice to be able to have a moment to think about what the questions that may be coming, because they involve data and things like that. So we'll rotate right now to our wonderful school nurse. We've known her for many years, ourselves, our own family, and she has been so helpful. You always think, of course, your child will probably not use the nurse, but both of our kids have, for any number of reasons, and repeatedly, like more often than I would ever expect. And she is so wonderful both in contacting parents promptly, letting them know what's going on, that, in our situations, fortunately, there was nothing to worry about, but that, sometimes we need to come by and pick them up. And so, with no further ado, thank you.
I am Lori LaChance, and I have been the school nurse here for about 5.5 years. I wanted to talk about two things. The first thing will be kind of what we do here. We do a whole bunch of illness injury management, but we also do medication administration at school. If you need to have something given at school, we're responsible for gathering that information and then putting it out. We also help with things like special education or 504s and helping get that process on board and make sure that the teachers know and understand health-related things and how that can in fact affect the education environment. As far as picking your child up from school when they are ill or injured, we do have a process. It's one we struggle with because everybody has a cell phone. So what we ask is that if your child is sick, feeling bad, certainly if they're injured, have them come and see us just so we can make sure there isn't anything that needs immediate attention. But kind of the same with when they don't feel well. 7th grade, I hate to say, causes lots of anxiety.
Yes.
And anxiety can present most often with things like stomach aches and headaches. And then there's that whole sleep business and being a teenager, and so we just get it all the way around. And a lot of times kids are like, I just don't want to be here. But we ask that they come through our office. It is staffed bell to bell, pretty much. And we will assess them and go from there. For the nurse, for me, I can use something great called nursing judgment. And so, like, based on my education and my experience, so like if you have a child and I can look and see their whole history basically in AISD with relation to their health visit, if they never come to the nurse and they walk in and they're like kind of green and just not acting, and I look and say, oh my goodness, have you been at Kealing all 3 years and this is the very first time you're here, then that actually holds a lot of credibility. It's, this kid is somebody who loves being at school and there must be something wrong. The other thing that we kind of struggle getting the right information across is that the person that I work with is a health assistant. She's not a registered nurse. And she actually has a different set of protocols that she follows. She has very specific guidelines. And so sometimes someone will come in and they don't feel well, but they don't meet the criteria to go home. And so there is kind of a disconnect, and kids will, well, I want to go home, and they'll call from the classroom. We ask that they don't do that, just so that we can make sure there's nothing more severe. You're always welcome to pick your child up anytime. if they do call or text or something, please encourage them to come to the health room so that we can assess the situation to make sure there's nothing else going on. And then if they really want to go home, make sure they verbalize that. Can I call home? Can I, and then we'll leave it up to you guys. Yes,
I
ma'am.
was just gonna say, I was just picking my daughter up from appointment yesterday, and I saw somebody that came there sick, and she said she called from herself, so it was an unexcused absence.
Correct.
I'm just letting people
Yes.
know, like,
That's an
tell your
important
kids
detail.
to call.
Yes, so if you come and get your child and they have not been through the health office, we will not write a note for an excused absence. And that's probably the biggest piece of information that parents struggle with. It's like they're sick. And yes, they probably are, but there are lots of kids who bypass us so they can go home. And so we have established this rule that unless they come through the health office to go home, it will be unexcused. We won't excuse an absence for illness if they have not first come to see us. Sometimes they'll call and say, come and get me, and then come to the nurse knowing that they have to come and see us. And if your parent is already on the way, we will make sure you don't have anything emergent going on, but that call to come and get the student when they're ill wasn't initiated through our office, and so it will not be excused. And that's a tough one. And like I said, everybody has cell phones and everybody texts, and I'm not always there, and I got an email about that one yesterday. So I'm not privy to the conversation. And again, it's the difference between me being able to exercise my nursing judgment because I am a registered nurse, and Ms. Roberts-Wallace having to legally follow a set of protocols because she works under my license, and it's delegated care. And so to protect my license, that's how we do that. So it can be a little challenging sometimes. It can be a little confusing. We have to work continually on presenting the right kind of information in the right tone of voice and in the right circumstances. When your student doesn't feel well and they come to school, and please, if they're not feeling well and they have a temperature or they say, I have to come to school because I have a test, please don't send them. Don't give them medicine so they don't have a fever so they can come to school and take a test, because they won't give a product that represents their true ability because their body is so focused on getting well. And for a very high achieving, lots of type A students struggling to be perfect in 7th, 8th, and 6th grade, they don't understand that. And they will, oh, but I have to. And then as soon as they're done, and then they go home. So in that instance, I would say just keep them home. You can always make up a test. Our teachers here are really fabulous about that.
Okay.
Yes.
Are there occasions when your child may call you and ask to come home, but you didn't indicate that in the first part of the phone call? You know, sometimes it may be a stomachache or something like that.
Right.
Where you should say, you know what, why don't you write it out? You know, stay there for 30 minutes or something, see how you feel, and then call me back. I mean, how do you recommend we, being away from the situation, might assess the situation and suggestions for our child?
So, one, again, if they call you and make sure you ask them to see if they've been to the health office. If they haven't, say you need to go. And if they rest and say, you know what, I'm not feeling well, this just isn't working, have them go back to the office and tell them you want to call home. You know, when I'm there, it's like, well, you know, obviously something is going on, and if you repeat during the day, typically I'll pick up the phone and I'll call and say, you know, this is the second time you want to talk to them. And it'll be, there's no fever, there's no vomiting, there's no diarrhea, not sure what's going on. Either it'll be someone that, you know, the first month of school, I know who they are and they're a 6th grader. Or, again, I've never seen them. And so we try and work that in. So if there is a call where it's a repeat in the day, say go back and tell them you're still not feeling well and that you would like to call home.
Is it okay to tell them, you know, why don't you stay in the nurse's office for a few minutes and see how you feel at the end of that? I mean, that's, sometimes I've gotten a call and I just think, well, like, she can probably, you know, be fine if she stays there for a little bit, she'll settle down, or whatever the case might be. And is that okay with you to say that, or should we check out the person?
No, that's fine. That is good with the understanding of, if you've ever been in our office, it's one bed and one chair and a huge desk.
It's small. You have to ask first, is there a space for you to sit?
Right, and so it may be, we have 2 chairs and a bed. And then the back part of the office is actually the desk and the chair. And, you know, maybe it's as big as from the window to about here. It's a small office. You know, possibly the Bond wish will be, woo, a bigger office. I've been told, no, you can't have the sink and the toilet in the same room because that requires lots of construction. So my sink and my toilet still won't be in the same room.
Notwithstanding hygiene issues.
Yeah, no. I'm thankful we have hot water in there. Lots of schools don't. So yeah, if there is space, they're allowed to rest, 10, 15. Our goal really is to help kids go back to class, to help identify some of the things that they are feeling. Why does my stomach always hurt around this time of day? Did you eat lunch? Did you eat breakfast? Is the very first question we almost always ask with stomach ache and headache. Did you eat breakfast? No, I didn't. Okay, well, the cafeteria is open, or then we go into, you don't have to have a breakfast food, you can eat anything on the way. Although I would say please be cautious on eating on the buses. They're really not supposed to eat on the bus, and there are kids who ride the bus that have food allergy issues. So, but trying to problem solve with them, because this is the age where we try and get them to kind of own their behaviors and their feelings and the path that they need to take, their health and wellness. And they are intellectually getting to the part where I'm going to be an adult, and then all of a sudden something happens and I want to be 4 or 5 years old and I want my mom right now, or my dad right now, right here, period. And we expect that. We know that developmentally that's where they are. So.
I was going to say this is really good, I think for me, but probably for everybody too, is I've never been proactive in telling even my younger son, but my kids, you know, really what to do if you get sick. I guess I just think, oh, I know to go to the nurse's office. But I know my son here would probably just suffer through whatever he was dealing with, which is probably not good, you know, especially if he's really sick. So, you know, probably needs to go somewhere safe. But I'm realizing, I should tell my kids, you know, if you're really not feeling well, go straight to the nurses and just see what it is. And so I'm gonna have that conversation today.
Right. They may not like our answer. Oh, you don't have a temperature. You've been sitting here for a really long time and you haven't thrown up. Don't tell them, but we really can hear what's going on in the bathroom. So we know. Yeah, it solves a lot of problems being able to hear. And so it may not be an answer that they like. You know, cold and flu season is coming up. Cedar season is right around the door, right around the corner. And allergies, I think this time of year, challenge these students the most, because your head hurts, you can't breathe out of your nose, If you're blowing your nose, it hurts. Maybe you can't hear. All of that junk running down your throat makes your throat hurt. You probably have a lot of homework. You probably didn't sleep well at night, and all you want to do is just lay down and go to sleep. And it's a lot of, I'm sorry you don't have a temperature. This is a head cold. You will survive. Here's the things we can do. I can give you a pass to drink lots of water, and then because I want you to drink lots of water, I'll give you a pass so that you can go to the bathroom as much as you need to, because I know that's an issue sometimes as well.
Yeah, I want to steer us into asthma and physical injury. So that students, may on the weekend warrior, or the after-school activities, do things. So I want to kind of hear more about those two issues.
So with asthma, just like with lots of emergency or chronic illnesses at this age, asthma, this is the time when we start promoting self-awareness and self-treatment. And so it is perfectly acceptable from 6th grade on for students who have asthma to carry their own inhaler. The way that process works is I would like to have authorization from the parent that says, yes, my child has asthma, they have a pump, I would like them to carry it. Here's all the information about my child's asthma. And then we get a set of orders from the doctor just so we really know what's going on and can plan for an emergency. We ask that inhalers be labeled. They are prescription medicine. If you drop one and it doesn't have a label, we can't give it back. Even if we see you drop it right in front, like me, legally, I can't give it back if it's not labeled. And then the process for that, once we receive all that information and we know about it, then we go through a process of creating notifications and emergency plans for our teachers. So that, one, they're aware that there is a student in their class who has asthma, but two, whether or not they actually have an inhaler on them or the inhaler is down in the health office. So that when the student comes up, and this is true for allergies, migraines, there are lots of conditions. So when the student first comes up and says, can I go see the nurse, I'm having a migraine, or I'm having an asthma attack, or I think I got into something, there is no delay in sending them down. And our process works at then talking to the student and making sure the student knows that yes, you're responsible for this, your doctor, your parent, we've decided that you're old enough and you can do this. Here are some of our rules. Please don't share your medicine with everybody around you. And if you take it and it's not getting better, you need to tell an adult. You need to either tell your teacher or you need to come and tell us that what you're doing isn't working, so that we can then take our orders from the doctor and go the next step. We try for after school activities, sports teams, we try really hard to look at those teams. They have a different form that provides information on it. But we kind of look through the team to make sure there's not anything that maybe we know that hasn't been shared, and vice versa. Sometimes I'll get stuff back and I'm like, whoa, I didn't know that. I think I'll note that now. The one thing that I can ask for parents to do is on the online registration, where the student health history is, go through every year and make sure it's still up to date. You have the ability to unclick some of those things, and we ask that it's done every year because health status can change from year to year. Sometimes something new appears. Sometimes, the allergy or whatever goes away. And so it's not something, and when you have 1,230 students, sometimes it takes us a while to sort through every individual piece of information. Teachers, through their portal, can see up, there's a little tag that I think is an H or a heart or something. I haven't seen the teacher side of the portal. It actually will show an alert if there is a health condition clicked as the student having it. So the teachers will go, oh, did you know about this? And if I don't, which sometimes I don't, then that allows me to go and develop a plan. As far as injuries, depending on when it happens, if it happens at school, we look for, one, did you walk into the office kind of smiling and I need an ice pack because I did, presentation and not just words are part of the picture. I can say I have sent out broken bones recently, and I'm also that parent who kept my child at school all day long with a broken arm because it didn't act like a broken
Broken
arm.
leg. We're winning.
Yes. It does. My older son, yeah. So it does. Not everything you can go, wow, that's broken. Again, it would be one of those, this still hurts and I can't do anything, and you're my third trip in, which is what happened with me and my son. I was like, fine, I'll come and get you. And I was really embarrassed at the doctor when they went, oh, it looks like a little buckle fracture. And went, oh.
And you're a nurse.
Yeah. So there are a lot of things I've learned from being a parent and going, oh, wow, you might want to look at that. If the injury occurs at school and it's not an obvious thing and your child is still having some issues, have them come back. But again, it's that presentation. Oh, I fell down the stairs in first period and now I'm in fourth period. We will do some investigation on, well, what class are you in? What else is going on? And why didn't you come first period? We don't have crutches to give out. I am ordering some slings because the last person I sent out who did have a broken arm, I had to improvise and I used a baggie, a Ziploc bag, to make a sling. I am going to order slings. We don't have wheelchairs to use. Our wheelchairs are for emergency transport during the day, and so they can't be loaned out. I would request that if your student is injured enough where they're on crutches or they have a boot, or they have a mobility issue, to reach out and let us know. One, we can facilitate coming through the building where if they're in crutches, they don't need to carry a backpack. They don't need to walk in the hall with everybody else. They'll need extra time for that. But also it's a safety issue in case there was an emergency, and this actually did happen. I didn't know a kid was on crutches and we had a fire drill and she tried to get down the stairs on her crutches with everybody else and ended up twisting her other ankle. So there are some really good, oh, that would have been nice to know reasons that maybe we can plan for and do a better job communicating with our teachers. So I would encourage you to reach out and touch base. So, which kind of brings me to my next little point. My last day at Kealing will be on Monday. I am now the director of student health services for the entire district. So I will still be very involved in nursing services across the district, just not at Kealing.
Right, yeah.
We've already all cried a lot, all right?
Kealing was a place that let me come in from Illinois when I moved back to Texas, and you guys welcomed me into your family and let me do my job the way my vision and the way my heart told me to do it. So I thank you very much for letting me do that.
Well, thank you very much.
So I will still be around, just not here.
We're thrilled for you personally, but sorry for us.
And I can let you know, because you probably have all seen, we've been in the news a little bit. Kealing is slated for a full-time RN. I just don't know when that will be. We're in the process, I actually got the numbers. We're in the process of hiring 32 new nurses for the whole district. We have had 11 job offers extended, 9 have been accepted. 4 have started orientation, 3 are scheduled. They started this week. 2 are scheduled to start later. So it may be a little bit. There may be a sub here for a little bit. But I hope you welcome the new person as awesomely as you have welcomed me and into your family. So.
Thank you very much. I just want to thank you because you've done, I think, an amazing job. Both our kids adore you, and I think that what a parent always likes to see is when a child feels a place, an office like yours, is a safe place for them to go to, and they're comfortable sharing information, and that's a wonderful thing as a parent, knowing they're always in good hands. So thank you from all of us to you. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you can, if you need to leave, you can, but you guys, I mean, we have been spoiled. I mean, some of you realize that, but we have been very, very spoiled. And one thing that I got pulled away a couple of times, so I didn't hear everything you said. But one thing you guys may or may not realize is when you have, you know, pushing 2,000 people in one place every day, all day, every day during the week, you have medical emergencies, like, you know, where you have to call EMS and stuff. And so, you know, obviously anything like that, we certainly have always relied on Lori for her medical perspective and freak out a little bit more internally, never externally.
You wait till it's all over.
You know, but when, you know, and even if something's happened when she hasn't been here, I'm like on the phone, all right, Lori, so here's what's going on. So, you know, it's been wonderful to have somebody who's insanely calm in the moment through things like that and ridiculously knowledgeable. So we're lucky, or have been lucky. But anyway, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
And we've already all balled together. So she told, thankfully she told a few of us before she told everyone.
What a great opportunity for the district.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
She's not leaving us.
I know.
Thank you. We sometimes have a school safety officer here.
Yeah,
So,
I can pretend to be him if you want.
Just for a few moments, I have one question.
Okay.
And that is, you know, I see, and I think you may have answered this before. It seems like there's a second police officer outside the school, at least in the mornings, helping with traffic. Do we have more than one school safety officer, or is he just here to help with traffic?
Yeah, and has he been here every morning?
I'm not here every morning,
I
but
don't know,
when
yeah,
I'm here, he seems to be here. He's very nice, and what I really like is
Yeah,
that he's
yeah.
on crosswalk patrol, basically. So
Yeah.
it's a much safer situation,
Oh, well,
I think. So.
that may actually be. So, did y'all realize Officer Plant is not here this year?
Oh, well, no.
Yeah,
So
okay.
That's
So the other one might be our one. Officer Plant, they shuffle people periodically, and he got shuffled this year. We were sad to see him go, but so he's at Garcia this year, I believe, and we have Kevin Thompson, KT, or Officer Thompson, or Officer KT, take your pick. But he's so he's our new guy. He does try to get out there in the mornings if he can to help with all of that.
And then there's a different person in the afternoon. I'm here in afternoons, you know, for pickup. And I see like there's usually a gentleman wearing a light blue, looks like a uniform, but not a police uniform, more like a security uniform.
Yeah.
And is that also provided by the district?
He's always been here. That's Mr. Jones, Herb Jones. He's our head security guy, or really our only security guy. He's not a police officer, but he is a security guy. So, and actually a little tidbit on him. So that's Mr. Jones. All right, Herb Jones, big man. He has a son, Herb Jones. He's a little bit shorter, also a big man. He's a new teacher this year.
Here?
Yeah, he teaches math in the academy program. And then, not Herb Jones, but Herb Jones has 2 kids, a 6th grader and a 7th grader, who are in the 6th grade and 7th grade in the magnet program. So we have the Jones family affair around here. But anyway, and they're all just like incredible people, just absolutely good as gold. So.
That's nice that we have it, because you know, for after school, kids staying late for sports and things like that, it's nice to have something like that more. So we can rotate over, unless anybody has questions about safety issues, we can rotate over to the director's report. Any questions on safety-related matters? All right, that's good.
Okay.
The state of the school.
State. Whoa, that's loaded.
Or just a joke. I mean, you can go
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, so just like report-wise, like kind of what's going on right now. So I didn't count again. Actually, before I start that, do you want to?
Is that okay?
Yeah, go
Sorry, I
for
didn't
it.
mean to interrupt.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Kristen Scott, our fabulous yearbook
Hi.
guru.
Yay. We are in the process of trying to sell 8th grade tribute ads to parents to have for their students. And last year we budgeted 10 spreads, 20 pages, and we sold 4 spreads, so 8 pages. So we lost money on this effort last year. We adjusted our expectations this year and only set aside 5 spreads, so we figured it would be easier to sell now that people know what they are. But they're not. We've only sold an 8th page ad of the 10 pages we have so far. I'd love your help getting the word out to parents. It's in Hornet Herald, and it's in the advisory announcements, and it's on my webpage, and I can put it on the Kealing webpage, but I've sent these little things home, these little ad flyers home. I'm not really sure what else to do.
When's the deadline?
The
Like,
deadline-
speaking for ourselves, like we would like to get one, but we haven't organized ourselves to think about like pictures or layout and stuff like that.
So the deadline is it says November 15th. I can push it, but that November 15th is when I have to basically commit to the plant that we're going to do them.
Gotcha.
And so if we've sold 1 page by then, I might pull some of the pages,
Yep.
or all of them, because we don't really want to have an ad page section that only has one yearbook spread. It seems it's a little sad, frankly. But I do think people want them, and I know the kids love them. I think they're pretty much reasonably priced. We're not making any money on them from the sense of the yearbook, so it does help offset the cost of the rest of the book a little bit, because those are pages that then the yearbook doesn't have to pay for. So it does allow us to have a bigger book without getting more expensive. I can leave you guys these flyers,
Thank you.
and you can give them to people or mention them, or I also have a pretty one that I made up that I can email to you, that it's like, it looks like an ad, and it shows what the advertisements look like, and has
Like a
all the
mock-up?
information. A mock-up, yes.
Cool.
Yes,
Webmaster at
yes, yes, thank you.
It's a great, thank you for doing that, because it's a lot of fun. You're right, the kids always, I mean, they seem to, even though they're not, you know, we haven't had a occasion to purchase one before,
Yeah.
because our kids haven't, they like going to them and seeing like, oh, okay, look at, sometimes they see
They do.
baby pictures or something like that.
Yeah,
kids.
I thought they were pretty sweet, the ones they put in last
Yeah.
year. I thought they were really nice. But I just wanted to,
Thank
I
you.
think we're very deadline
Yeah.
driven, so the closer it gets, the more.
Webmaster, yeah, I know people procrastinate.
But it's saying it's the Hornet Herald.
It's in, it was in the
But
Hornet
which
Herald.
with your motto.
Oh, okay, just webmaster at, got it, okay. And if you guys, if any of you or you talk to people and they go on the website and they have trouble with the online build the ad thing, just email me, send me the pictures, we'll make your ad for you. Like, we can make the ads, we can totally do it. Like, if you don't want, like, you're like, oh, it's too confusing how to do this, just send us the money, send us your picture, and we'll make it for you. We can do that.
Oh, and one other thing, we've also seen ads setting for pictures, like family, like
Yes.
summer pictures, stuff like that.
We need especially summer pictures of students.
Yeah, so, and I will tell you, like in my wife's case, my wife's the organized picture person in our house, like she was sending some pictures out, but didn't clear it with our kids first, and she,
Uh-oh.
with the dinner table, she said, hey, look, you know, they need pictures, I sent some pictures out, and like our daughter, and so I was like, you can't send that picture, no, not that one, because they're, you know, like it's a different place, a different frame, so clear it with your kids first, but definitely do it, because they do enjoy looking at it.
Yeah, we tend to not put pictures of people in swimsuits just because, I don't know, even though they're fine, I just.
Well, in our daughter's case, she was with a boy who was no longer her boyfriend, so,
Okay.
yeah, that absolutely can't happen. It's like,
We're,
her boyfriend, which is like something.
we're mostly we're looking for kind of like action shots. Like we have a spread that's going in on like travel, and then we have one that's on like camps. So those, and then we'll have one that's on like transition, like into middle school.
So it's not just like an 8th grade thing, it's anyone.
That's anybody. Yeah, anybody can send pictures, and they're like last year we had some really nice picture of a girl who was, you know, on a like amusement park swings, and her family got a really cool picture of her, and you could see her face. It was lovely.
So, okay, sorry, now.
A kid who swam with dolphins with a picture with a dolphin, you know, stuff like
So
that.
it's not necessarily attributed, it's like you get paid for having an extra shot of your kid in? Or?
Yeah, well,
Or
it's
you
not
actually-
that you pay, you just basically the ads, they're two separate things. So the
Okay.
ads are tribute ads, where it's just for 8th graders. Submitting your pictures are basically, you're saying, it's like you're helping the yearbook out. You're like saying, the yearbook staff can't cover everything, so I was at this, you know, I was at the Fall Fest and got this great picture of my kid right before they'd done, threw a pie in Miss Carter's face. And they have the most happy expression on their face because they were so excited to just get her right there in the forehead. And you got a great photo. You can send that to me, and if it's a really, you know, like, and what I'll do is we basically just add it to the pictures that the designers are choosing from, and then, you know, you get photo credit, your kid gets in the yearbook, and then. But no, we
that's
don't.
not paid, or do you,
No.
so you still want those photos?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's- it's-
Basically,
it's also really
it
nice to get
helps.
like lots of Kealing kids and sports like photos or after party type photos, you know, like after a bar mitzvah. Bar mitzvah, like kids are together, and that's nice. You get 10 Kealing kids in a, you know, outside of a school situation. It's nice.
Halloween
Yeah, Halloween is a great one. We wanted pictures from ACL, pictures of what you guys are doing during like homework hiatus. We're trying to do stories about these things because our yearbook theme is about how Kealing is not like other schools. So anytime we're doing stuff, it's kind of a unique Kealing thing, and there's not a yearbook photographer there, they probably didn't know about it, or we just couldn't get them there because they don't have a car, and I'm not going to drive them everywhere as much as they might want me to.
And you send those photos to?
Our yearbook, our yearbook Gmail is vespayearbook@gmail.com. And I have a website, keelingyearbook.com, all this information.
Okay.
Thank you for
Did you have a question for me?
That was basically an email is the most appropriate submission, or is there a
Vespa, we have
form?
an app, it's called Replay It, and it's through our yearbook publisher, Jostens. And you can download that app and share, and you can see all the pictures. It's kind of like our own Facebook just for our school, and it's moderated. They review every picture to make sure there's no like middle fingers or anything that's, you know, offensive going up there. And I appreciate that. But so then the kids can kind of look through and see. We're also working on something where we're gonna maybe try and sell photos that we take at games, since our photographers can like get down on the field. We're gonna look into selling our actual staff, like our yearbook photos. So like maybe you wanted a picture of your son, who's the quarterback, and you've never been able to get down there on the field and get this picture. And we have a great one where he's not getting sacked, but doing what quarterbacks are supposed to do. I don't know. Right? Okay. Thank you for your time. Sorry to interrupt.
So while she's running out, I'll tell you guys the first few things I jotted down are, well, Kristen Scott helps us tremendously with like our application, and like we just sent out 558 postcards to. What we did is we pulled any 5th grader at a Title I elementary school that scored at a 7 or higher on our little rubric for the application this year. Anybody who scored 7 or higher in both reading and math on STAR, all of those kids, which was 558, we'll get a postcard that'll actually go out today, inviting them to the showcase. We did this last year. It was fewer last year though, which is kind of cool. That's exciting. That to me says something good about the district as a whole. Anyway, she helps us with all that. She makes our brochures, our postcards, she designs it all and makes it pretty, and yeah, it's greatly appreciated. So, and she's gone, so she didn't hear me say that, but oh well. I thank her profusely. So, anyway, so yeah, it's that time of year when we are working really, really hard to get the word out there about our program. And we do the very, very best we can to get it out there equally to everybody. And part of that is the elementary visits. Thankfully, Jenna Martin is taking care of the visits this morning so that I could be here. We've got, well, Jenna's knocking out 42, 43, and 44. So after today, 44 elementary schools down and about 40 to go. So if I suddenly just bust into like my little spiel, I'm sorry, but that's usually what I'm saying this time of morning. It's always, I mean, it gets a little crazy, but it's fascinating. I've decided that anybody in our district who is ever in a position where they are responsible for making decisions that are in any way related to equity, they need to do what we're doing right now. We see every single elementary school, and it's fascinating, truly fascinating. I've had some days where, there was one day in particular that I came back to campus. I usually leave about 7:30. I get all the kids in class and then jump in my car and choo! I usually get back around 11. There was one day that I struggled for the rest of the day to get my head out of a ridiculously reflective space. Because I don't know. We all have a tendency to exist in our bubble, when you move outside of that bubble and realize how different homes are in our own city, it's pretty crazy, pretty dang crazy, and that doesn't. I had a long conversation with myself in my head, because, it's not, just because you're driving along and it looks kind of rough, doesn't mean people are unhappy. It doesn't mean that at all. It doesn't mean that they haven't found their success. It doesn't mean that at all. It means that they live a completely different walk of life than a lot of folks. Their reality is different from somebody's reality who lives somewhere else, and it made me even more excited about the change we made to the admissions policy to try to get kids that represent all of Austin, because truly, and I even have grown to appreciate our focus on more of a geographic representation than focusing on the color of a kid's skin or focusing on income or focusing on this or that. It made me even more thankful for the geographic focus, because I just moved into a rental house down close to Williams Elementary. I would guess that my little neighborhood is very similar in many, many ways to some other neighborhoods that I've been in, like around Breaker, like Breaker-Runberg, okay? Like they're probably very similar as far as the color of skin and the income and all of that. There's probably a lot of similarities, but man, those are two different places. I mean, I'm sorry, but North Austin and South Austin are different. And so, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but I'm excited about it. And we did successfully make some baby step changes this year as far as our kids that we have. And hopefully that'll just kind of continue to go that direction. So we'll see. Thank you. I'll stop rambling.
Oh, I just have like several hundred questions. So my first question was, so last year was the first year where they took the Title I schools and they took a bit more from those schools, or they had more opportunity so you had that 30% cut off, but they dipped a little bit lower to try to take some of the kids who may have not been in that top 30% or whatever the top. Is that
So last year was the first year we made the change.
Yeah.
The way it works is, so 50% of the seats, let's work with the number 300,
Okay.
because it's easy. 50% of those seats, or 150 of them, went to just the top kids score-wise, boom, done, okay? And then the remaining 150 were divided up by middle school feeder pattern. So if 10% of AISD kids go to small middle school, then 10% of these seats, these 150 or 15 of these seats, went to kids who would feed into small, based on their address. Not based on which elementary they went to, because kids transfer elementaries all over the place, but based on their address. So, yeah. That was the model last year, and it will be this year. Yeah.
Another question.
Okay.
So, we live, our kids are coming from Travis Heights Elementary, it's a Title I
Okay.
school. Majority low income, wonderful families and kids. And there's my daughter's class this year, there's so many people want to go to Kealing. And one of the things that I wonder about is, how do you support kids who are very capable of coming to school here, however, do not have potentially the resources that computer at home. The transportation thing's fine. I think that's all amazing with that. But I watched my daughter come home. She has her snack. She's pretty self-sufficient. And she gets on the computer and she's working. We have fast internet. She has a problem, she has a question, I'm around, or my husband, we're around. And there's a handful of kids, I'm like, man, they could totally make it at Kealing. But I wonder, how do they navigate? Because I know people have talked about the phones, but my own phone sucks with navigating, stuff.
So how do we support them getting in, or
No,
how do we support them once they're here?
If they get in.
Two different things.
Yeah. If they get in, I don't know, the application, I don't think it's gonna be a problem for some of these kids. It's, once they get in.
What do we do to take care of them?
Yeah, if they have technical challenges.
Yeah.
If it's a resource inequity potentially.
Yeah. So there's a few things that are here. One, our Young Scientist program that's run by Joe Garcia. A lot of what is done for kids that fall into this category is done through Young Scientists. She has after-school tutoring every single day after school until the late buses come. They have kids in there working. So instead of going home to do homework, they can stick around and work in her room. They've got computers, they've got high school and college kids that come in to help. They've got everything they need. In addition, good Lord, half of our staff is around until who knows when. And even if they don't necessarily need a teacher's help, if they just need a space to work and that somebody that has a computer, there's 10 jillion different options. I've got one kid who oftentimes actually works, maybe I shouldn't say this to the whole world, but, so y'all didn't hear this, but there's one kid that does homework in the program office after school because there's a computer there they can use and a printer.
Okay.
And so, there's those things, and you know, I mean, we've even figured out how to help some kids get computers. Like, maybe there's Wi-Fi at home, but there's no computer. Or we, you know, so there's a variety of answers.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
and actually, I think last year, maybe it was Seconds, but Raji helped coordinate computers for kids, both used computers coming from families and then buying computers from KMag's budgets for laptops for kids who came otherwise couldn't. They're, it's great, you know, a lot of families just have extra laptops that aren't being used at home. Well, if you can clean them up, bring them in, you know, erase the drive, and we can make use of that for kids as well.
And as long as we're just talking about technical resources, among many resources, this current bond package that's available is pushing the closer to 1-to-1 ratio down below the high school level in AISD to middle schools. Whether it's perfect or whether we even want every child to have one at home is going to be kind of the conversation that's next. But there's financial allocation in the bond to have that discussion, figure out who we can provide one-to-one tech, whether it's a Chromebook or something like that at the middle school level. So we, you know, a significant discussion happened district-wide, and whether it was going to be K through 12, there was some pushback against the lower grades, but middle school, we think it's probably still appropriate, and there's potential in this bond for it.
You've been around too much, because I predicted that's what you were just about to share when you raised your hand.
Well, it addresses.
That's awesome, thank you, yeah.
It addresses the question.
Yeah.
To add to that, you can vote right next door at our
Yeah, you
library.
sure can, at Harvard. Early voting?
Yes, I think we are.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they've got
I'll
the-
check it.
They've got the
Yeah.
signs
And
up.
by the way, it's 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah, we
Yep.
go.
Every day,
Yep.
Great, thanks.
every day until next
And
Friday.
you do not have to go to your local library,
Yes.
right? You can go
No.
to any library.
That's the best
Wait.
part about
Randall's.
early voting.
Then why, just make sure you go in on the right-hand side, because you'll miss them, because
Yeah,
they're way over
just to
here.
clarify, there are a few libraries that are offering early voting, but there are multiple points in the city, probably 40 early voting locations.
And no waiting, which is a bad thing.
Very little waiting. The closest to here is definitely Carver. I would Google Travis County elections if you need something more local.
So there are a few other things that I wanted to just throw out there as like just how things are going stuff. So we got that. Just so you know, y'all, well, you may already know this, but what our counselors have done this year with high school stuff is we actually kind of made a change after the first week, because the first week it was just the time was too short for two high schools to give presentations to our 8th graders during advisory. They were like, oh my gosh, that just isn't enough time. So what they shifted for the next 2 weeks, last week and this week, is the high schools have sent videos, and then our 8th graders have watched the videos during advisory, and then the high schools have sent representatives to hang out in the courtyard during lunch. So they've been letting the 8th graders go out, like not all at the same time, but in chunks, to get to walk around and actually have like a one-on-one conversation with people from all the high schools. So I can't tell you off the top of my head who all's been here so far, but I can tell you for sure Aikens has been here, because I worked at Aikens for years, and the 2 people that came were there when I taught there, so we got to catch up, and that was fun. But anyway, so that's been pretty cool. The kids, I think, have really enjoyed those conversations.
Is that with students who come in, or like high school administrators?
It's whoever the high school sends. Some have sent a kid or 2. Some have sent, it could be a counselor, it could be, whoever the school decided to send. So, the Magnet Showcase is coming up November 9th from 5:30 to 7:30. That's our big open house where we invite prospective students and their folks to come in and check things out. So we're getting excited about that, getting map all made and all that good stuff. That's what those postcards are telling kids about. And then, yeah, Fall Festival is tomorrow night, and yes, I will be getting pie in the face. Although this year I was smart and I signed up for the last slot. So I get whipped cream all over me, and then I just get to go straight home to take a shower. Instead of whipped cream all over me, figure out how to clean it off, and then walk around the rest of the night smelling whipped cream. Because it's not good, people. It's not good. It's just not good. No. Well, you know, let me tell you.
These Stooges make it look really good.
I did learn, yeah. I did learn that, you know, if I ever try to funk up my hair, like for the weekend, I can use like a whole little thing of product and it still does this, all right? If I want to do it, I should just use whipped cream. Yeah, because it, woo! Anyway. Yeah. And one more thing, and that is, I'm really excited because I'm going on the Parks and Rec trip to Big Bend next
Oh,
week.
such a good
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, those seem like
Okay.
pictures for the, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, fun.
Oh, my gosh, I can't wait. I love camping. In fact, we went camping this last weekend so that I could, you know, get in the spirit. Yeah. And it was amazing weather. So, and if you haven't ever been to Gardner State Park, oh my gosh, you have to go. It's absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, so I'm really excited. We leave Thursday and we get back Sunday. And I love camping, but I've never been camping with a whole bunch of middle school kids. So this should be fascinating.
I think they get a cook. Do they get a cook for you? I'm not sure. Do you get to bring your own food?
Well, actually, so one of the things that I don't know, like, every year I realize more and more things, like little things that our teachers do with our kids it's crazy. I wish I could have come to school here. But anyway, yeah, so all the kids are responsible for their food. And then Mr. Hendricks and Ms. Crouch are going to take care of the adults' food. They just sent out a Google Doc yesterday. We can cook for adults too, if we want to, but they've got it taken care of unless we want to sign up for a meal. But you know, I mean, it's not just that they get to go to Big Bend. It's all the preparation that's where a lot of the learning is. Like I happened to be in there like the day that they got into their groups initially and started planning out their meals and who's going to do what, and who's going to bring what, and do you have any food allergies, and do you have, you know, and so all of that planning is like just tremendous.
Making sure everybody knows how to put up a tent.
Yes.
And then
Light a stove.
videotaping at home that you know how to put up a tent.
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
think they had to take a video of it.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because I think there's a lot of kids in the class who've never
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
all. So, and it's going to be camping.
Yeah.
Hiking.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I'm a little worried.
and a lot of Pop-Tarts, I think, probably.
Yeah. So I'm real excited about that. But then recently I also was reminded that like Explore Austin, the electives Explore Austin. So if y'all may or may not realize that the kids, like all the things that those classes do for little field trips, the kids actually choose it and pick it and plan it. So it's not like Ms. Stewart sits around and goes, all right, here's some cool things in Austin, let's go do them. It's like totally kid driven, so it's pretty sweet. She was having, see, every once in a while I wish I wasn't being videoed, but it's okay. No, it's all right. She learned a lot about donuts in Austin when the kids wanted to have a trip focused around donuts. And they wanted to go to Gordo's and they wanted to go to Voodoo Donuts. And I'll just stop there and suggest that you look at the menus for those places and see how uncomfortable that could be for a teacher with a classroom of middle school kids. And I'll just leave it at that and let you all do your research. But she managed to plant some seeds to navigate away from that. So they're not going to Gordo's and Voodoo Donuts, although they are delicious, but anyway.
So
Yes.
that's not for 6th grade students, the field trips and all that.
My daughter was in Explore Austin last year in 6th grade.
Yeah, 6th graders can be in Explore Austin.
Okay, and that's how do they get it?
It's just when they do their elective choices, it's one of the
Okay.
choices.
It's an actual
It's one they
class.
put. But they can do it also in 7th grade
Or
8th,
eighth.
yeah. So if it sounds cool, just
And it's
have
an
a
awesome,
really fun class.
yeah, it's an awesome
It-
class.
They went paddleboarding last year, they went to an art group, went to like the game.
Attention teachers and students, please pardon this
arcade,
interruption.
yeah.
Please release all animal studies students going on a field trip to the main foyer. Again, please release all animal studies students going on the field trip to the main foyer. Thank you.
That's why it's a field trip to 4 years.
Yeah, so I was thinking too, I was like, where's
That's
it going?
not where it stops.
Just scramble.
I thought they were releasing animals.
Well, that was the first thing too, I thought.
Yeah, it's a great class. I mean, in fact, so even we drove past the Texas State Cemetery, is that right? The one that's a couple blocks away. And our kids were talking about how they took a field trip there last year. There are Confederate generals there. Do we think we should remove the statues related to the Confederate generals? And so, it was really interesting. Like, I never even knew that was an issue. And they get to understand and talk about those things. They're great classes. Ms. Stewart did an amazing job.
Do y'all have other things you're curious about, like how things work around here, or what goes on, or anything? Oh,
I'm sorry.
No, no,
I'm
no.
up front, I think no one's behind me.
I have a question. My son is in orchestra, and they're gonna do something on Wednesday, in November. They're gonna go play at somewhere. They're gonna go during the day. And my question was, well, for him, because he's so concerned that he needs to make up work. And I'm like, I don't think so, because that's something from the school, they have to, but then like 2 days after, he came back and said that he has to make up work. So that's my question, so do I decide not to, for him not to go, so he won't be making up all of this work?
gotcha.
So that's my question concern.
Yeah, okay. No, anytime a kid's out, even if it's for a school event, they are responsible for whatever's missed while they're gone. But typically, chances are, like Explore Austin and Parks and Rec, when we get back, they're gonna allow some class time for kids to work on whatever it is that they need to make up. Orchestra, I know, after they have kids out of class for something, they'll spend some time giving them time to make stuff up.
Okay.
So, and our teachers are very accustomed to kids missing class for field trips, for being sick or for all kinds of different reasons. So they're really good about working with kids to give them time to get stuff made up. So no, he will enjoy the experience, and he'll be all right. Yeah.
And my son he went on another Parks and Recreation field trip or whatever, and it was the same thing, he missed a couple things, and he, because he's 7th grader, so from last year, he realized he needed to just make sure that his teachers, the classes where he was gonna miss, just let them know. Yeah, and there were 3 kids that were, and I think most of his classes that also went on that field trip, so the teachers were very aware, because there were 3 kids that were out. And even last night, they went to office hours and made up, for English, they made up what they missed. And then they were able to do some more work during Parks and Recreation class, because they gave them that extra time, so. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
it's your
okay.
turn.
Okay. So my daughter was sick yesterday, sick today.
Oh.
And it was one of those things where she did her she was sick yesterday, she had done her homework the night before and some of it for today and da-da-da-da. And she woke today and she's like, can I go to school? I'm like, you had 102 fever last night. And I know you have a 99 now. What about my teachers? I'm like, what about, It'll be fine.
I love it.
So, but we could just email her teachers later today, like, and I'm assuming, don't you get 2 days to make it up if you're gone 2 days?
Yes.
Okay, and then online, she was saying, I think I can get all my lessons online, that I'm missing, but,
Yeah, a lot of times
Okay.
that's possible.
If you have
But-
her teacher too,
Yeah.
that helps. Like my
Yeah.
daughter's homesick today.
Yeah.
And she's in 7th grade, and so she just emails the teachers.
okay, good,
She-
yeah.
And she just
Okay.
emails them and
I
says,
know.
I promise.
Are you
I won't
carrier
rely."
monkeys?
I don't know.
There's 102 viewers. So I just have her, like, as soon as she woke up this morning, I said, okay, now you just email all your teachers and say, you're gonna miss today,
Okay.
and just ask and say, what would you like me to do? And
Okay.
generally, they'll say, feel better, we'll talk about when you get back. Or
Okay.
sometimes they'll say, you can look on the website, but it always helps to have them do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great, okay. And then one last question, Osgood Schlatter, does parents have this for their kid? So my daughter, it's some tendonitis thing.
Oh, I had
Soccer.
It's like growth pains
I
too.
had it growing up.
Right, okay, so, but she couldn't play soccer like the last couple of weeks, and we finally went to the doctor because we just weren't sure, and we hadn't thought about what it was. She has a note for PE, like to stretch, but there are times where she'll run and all of a sudden her like leg will, she's in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
How do they deal with that for her functional fitness? I mean,
If she gives a PE teacher a note
yeah,
that's, if she gives a PE teacher a note that says she's not supposed to do stuff,
yeah,
they're gonna do their very best to convince her not to do anything.
okay, yeah,
Sometimes it's easier said than done to convince a kid they shouldn't be running.
right,
Or doing
right,
things.
yeah.
But, they're gonna, and life goes on. Like,
Okay.
For whatever time she's got a doctor's note, then she's excused. If
Okay,
it's for a long time, they might give her like another assignment
okay,
to work
okay,
on.
okay.
If it's, if it's a day or two, they may or may not. But it's for what?
It's been, the doctor's like, you could have this for a year, or just,
Oh, gotcha.
don't.
I mean, and if it's like, just, she can do stuff, but if it starts hurting, stop.
Yeah.
then they'll be aware
Okay,
and help
okay,
her
okay.
remember to stop when it starts hurting. And, yeah. I happen to know that from personal experience. I taught PE here back in '99 for 2 years, so,
So you saw Osgood Schlatter around?
well, I can't remember
Okay.
1999. Possibly.
You saw a lot of things.
Yeah, I did see a lot of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're at the end of our appointment hour, and then some. Quickly, I don't have any PTA announcements. Dee is not here. Vito, are you familiar with any PTA announcements? We
I
have
think
just
they
a-
have their coffee, I just looked at it.
Oh, the coffee cart.
The
Monday.
coffee cart is Monday.
Yeah.
And so look
They
out
still
for,
need donations.
yeah, so look out for those opportunities, and then we are still looking for people who want to be involved with the incubator project in the spring. And we're going to have more information coming out next month about that, interacting with teachers as well to encourage kids to get involved. And thank you all. We have the minutes, so those have been there. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with a second.
Second.
Very good. All in favor? Yes? No, anyone against? Very good. So it passes. Thank you all. Have a wonderful week. Thanks.
Thank you.